Imagine a small island where the soil is said to be mixed with the ashes of the dead, where over 160,000 people met their final painful end, and where no tourists are allowed, not because it's protected, but because it's just too horrifying to be safe. This is Poveglia, a tiny speck in the Venetian lagoon, just 3 miles south of Venice, Italy. It's been called the world's creepiest island, and after hearing its story, you'll understand why. Stay with me, because what happened here is straight out of a nightmare. On the surface, Poveglia looks like any other forgotten island. 7 hectares of crumbling buildings, overgrown vegetation, and eerie silence. But beneath that silence is a gruesome legacy. From ancient quarantine wards to a psychiatric asylum where patients were reportedly experimented on, Poveglia is one of the most haunted and restricted places in Europe. In the late 1700s, Venice was gripped by fear. The Black Plague and other deadly diseases swept through the city, killing thousands. With the mainland overwhelmed, the authorities turned to Poveglia. The island was converted into a quarantine station, but it was more like a death sentence. Suspected plague victims were shipped off by the boatload. Most never came back. They died alone, and when they did, their bodies were dumped into mass plague pits or burned where they lay. It's estimated that over 160,000 people were buried or incinerated on that tiny island. Locals say that the soil of Poveglia is 50% human ash. The horror didn't stop with the end of the plague. In 1922, the island was given a new, darker purpose, a psychiatric hospital. Cut off from the world, the facility became a place of unthinkable cruelty. Patients were forgotten, locked away from society, and subjected to experimental treatments. There are disturbing rumors of lobotomies without anesthesia, brutal physical abuse, and unethical experiments. One story tells of a sadistic doctor who claimed to hear whispers in the halls, until he threw himself from the hospital's bell tower, unable to face what he had done. Locals say you can still hear that bell ringing, even though it's been missing for decades. Why tourists are banned? After the asylum shut down in 1968, the island was completely abandoned. Today, the buildings are rotting skeletons of what they once were. But unlike many ruins in Europe, Poveglia is closed to tourists, completely banned. Why? Not just because of danger, but because of what's been left behind. The structures are unstable. The ground is riddled with burial pits and unmarked graves. There's no graffiti, no signs of modern life, just natural decay and death. Local authorities have declared it unsafe for public entry, and the few who've managed to sneak in say they wish they hadn't. There have been attempts to sell or lease Poveglia to developers. Some propose turning it into a luxury resort or historical museum, but every plan has failed. The island seems to resist being touched, as if it wants to be left alone. Even the Italian government has quietly backed away from reopening it. Urban explorers who dared to enter. In 2020, British YouTubers Matt Naden and Andy Thompson of Finders Beepers History Seekers broke the rules and stepped onto Poveglia. What they found chilled them to the core. It was like stepping into hell, Naden said. He described hearing unexplained bells tolling and walking through rooms still filled with medical tools. There was no graffiti, he noted, no signs of people. Just time rot and echoes of suffering. They reported feeling physically ill and disoriented during their visit. They weren't alone. Many explorers say the island has a strange energy, a kind of darkness that clings to you. Is Poveglia haunted? Locals certainly think so. Fishermen won't cast their nets near the island. Boaters refuse to dock, even illegally. And many Venetians believe that the souls of plague victims and asylum patients never left. There have been reports of shadow figures, ghostly screams, and the smell of burning flesh rising from the soil. Even paranormal investigators have left the island in a hurry, terrified. As of today, Poveglia remains sealed off, a forbidden island of death. They say that places remember pain, and if that's true, then Poveglia remembers everything. A once beautiful island, now soaked in sorrow, silence, and stories that still chill the blood. Would you visit a place like this if you had